What's up, everyone? Welcome to Beers in the Lot, episode 20. We got a good episode here for you. So today we actually got a couple of suggestions from listeners, and of those, we talked about a few of them here on the show. We talked about the new Blue Line rules and the expansion draft. A couple of comments we saw on social media from Justin and Kevin let us into those discussions. We got some really good content there. We also talked about the World Juniors, and we're going to go over a few of our New Year's resolutions for the show, too. So it's a really good episode. Let's get into it.
Yeah, I need to open this. I'm getting dry.
I'm getting cranky. I'm getting the shakes.
I opened a snake dog at right at 9 o'clock, and I finished it right as everybody started coming on. So it's been 10 minutes.
Yeah, that's too far. That's too far apart.
Well, let's open these beers then.
Delish.
Daniel, I saw you making a face. You looked like you were either entranced or appalled by something that you were hearing or seeing. What are you drinking tonight?
My face was because of the absolute beautiful pops that I heard tonight.
They were on point tonight.
Yeah, they were pretty good. So I'm drinking a Fiddlehead Brewing Company Second Fiddle Double IPA. And I got this beer over the summer, actually, and it got pushed to the back of my beer fridge. I'm glad it did, because this is really good right now.
Nice.
What do you got, Aaron?
I am drinking a Maduro Brown Ale from Cigar City Brewing, courtesy of my good friend who gave this beer to me. I don't know if you guys know him or not. His name's Daniel. He has a podcast.
Oh, you're too kind.
But it's pretty good. I didn't know what to expect with this. Never had one of these before, but it is tasty. It goes down smooth. I think you guys are right that it would definitely pair well with a cigar.
Yep.
Have to try that sometime. What are you drinking tonight, John?
I am drinking, this is a repeat for the podcast, not for me though, a Vanish Brewery, This Is the Way, an Imperial Pilsner.
This is the way.
This is the way. I'm a big Mando fan and Star Wars, obviously. So I told Rigsby I got it a little while ago, and my beer fridge is looking a little light after Christmas, obviously. So these are in there. So I decided to have one tonight. What about you, Riggs? What are you drinking? Or sorry, what did you pour into a glass and now you're consuming?
I don't know if it's A or An. I think it's An. I Just Crush a Lot, like the song. From Calvert Brewing. I only got it because I saw the name. It's a tart fruit ale. Let me tell you, it is tart.
Very tart?
Very tart. Yeah, it's definitely a contrast with what I was drinking earlier this evening.
Was it like mine last week when I had to crush it?
No, I didn't get stank face like you did.
I was just down the hatch.
But yeah, it's good. If you like, it's almost like a sour, but it's not quite there. It is tart though.
Nice.
So for this episode, we did something a little different. Earlier today, we reached out on social media to see if anybody had any ideas about what to talk about. We got a couple of responses. So we're going to talk about a few things that we saw on social media. So Justin gave us the idea to talk about some of the rule changes that NHL came out with this season. Notably, there's the blue line offsides call change where you don't have to drag your skate on the ice. Your skate can be over top of the blue line. What do we think about this?
So the rule's very specific about where the skates are positioned on the ice. And it always was. What's changed now, and I like it and I don't like it. I like it because I think the offsides reviews will become that much more clear and easy. Because what always happens, right? When we watch the linesmen go over and they're looking at the replay, they're always looking to see where the skate was in relation to the leading edge of the blue line. and they're always looking to see if the skate was still touching the blue line. And a lot of times in different camera angles, it's hard to tell, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
If the skate's actually touching the blue line or not.
This makes me
So-
think of the sorry to interrupt you. The series or the first game of the finals, Stanley Cup finals between Penguins and Predators. The first goal that was scored,
That
The
PK
first-
Subban goal,
the
right?
first puck that went in,
Yeah.
got called back because of offsides because the guy's skate was just a couple of inches above the ice.
Right.
So this rule change would change that, is what you're telling me.
Right. So that would have been probably good goal at that point, right?
Right.
But what I think they're trying to clean up is the long review times, where the linesmen are at the scorer's table or the penalty box, and they're looking at the iPad and they're trying to figure out if the guy's foot was still physically touching the blue ice or not. I like it for that reason. I don't like it because the rule is essentially the same rule as like a touchdown in football, where it's like you break the plane.
Right.
And now like every broadcaster for the whole season is going to be explaining the rule in the context of the NFL. And I hate that.
Well, his skate broke the plane.
Right. It's gonna
Yeah.
like the explanation is always gonna be like, just like in football, if any part of the ball breaks the plane to the goal line, blah blah blah. Like it's gonna be that all season long, and I'm dreading hearing that.
So the nice thing is, I guess, for teams and then video coaches, especially challenging it, it's going to be a lot more cut and dry. And also, too, like you said, Rigsby, it's clear for those guys, but as a fan, someone like us where we understand the concept of onsides, and even to a casual fan, if you explain it, a lot of people know American football. Football breaks the plane of the end zone, it's a touchdown. So now skate breaks the plane before puck, it's offsides. But after I think the first game they said was Penguins Flyers, and I think Nashville plays later. I'll be sick of the analogy right after the Nashville game, the second game of the season. So
I mean, I like it because it does maybe cut down on those times on reviews, but I actually didn't mind the reviews. If they're going to get it right, take your time. I think we can all agree that going back to the Danny Briere goal from, I forget what year it was that 2012, John? I can't remember.
yeah, something like that.
Yeah, he was definitely offsides.
And they also had
14.
had that Matt Duchene goal too. So
Yeah, right.
both of those goals.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
When he was with the Avs.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you something that I kind of wish I guess it's an idea that I think the NHL could do, is instead of changing the rules of how it's reviewed and all that, I think that it should be a hard and fast rule that after the goal is scored, the head coach has to have his hand up on the bench or something like that within 10 seconds to say that I'm challenging this goal as offsides. I think it should be quick, and that window needs to be fast. And if they don't make the call that they're challenging the goal in that very short window, then it's a good goal, not reviewable anymore. And I think that would mean it would obviously mean like on plays that enter the zone and then wait for a little bit, and then like before the goal scored, that the review video guys could look at it and then alert the coach that, hey, we need to challenge this or whatever. But on goals that are like on rushes, I think that if it's really close, but the coach doesn't think it's clearly offsides, then it would penalize them for getting it wrong. Because that's already in the rules that if they get it wrong, if they challenge the play and they get it wrong, then they actually have to put a guy in the box. So I think that needs to be more part of the rule. I think that would, because if it's offsides, it's clearly you could see it. The coaches are standing on the blue lines. I mean, somebody on the bench is going to see that it's offsides. And say,
Yeah. But see, I think this change actually helps those situations anyway. I think because if you can see you know, they have the camera that's shooting down the blue lines now. If you
Right.
can see that, player's skate was still above the blue ice when the puck crossed fully, then they'll know, yeah, it's onside play. I mean, I think it makes it that much easier for everybody, like the coaches and the video coach who's calling down on the radio to the assistant
Right.
coach who then tells the head coach, like, yeah, call him over and challenge, right? I think it helps everybody in the decisions on those plays. Now, like where they might be looking for like goaltender interference or some other thing that goes on where they could challenge, yeah, I think there should be some sort of time limit.
No
Like
stalling.
like I hate to bring up football, but they're the
You're
ones
doing
that's-
it. You're doing
they're
it.
the ones that started all this instant replay bullshit and these reviews and all this. I hate it. It's why I don't watch it anymore. But you know, their rule is you have until the next snap of the ball, right? So as soon as play starts again. So like in hockey, there's, you know, goal scored or whatever happens, there's some milling around. They might even be going to a TV timeout or something. Like if there was some sort of well-defined time limit or rule about this is your window to challenge after a play, yeah, I think that would be good.
Yeah.
Right. So you go from last season, you had two things that you had to worry about. Is he across the plane and is his skate down? So now you go to just one thing where is he across the plane,
Right.
which makes it a lot easier,
Right.
like in
Yeah.
football.
Yeah. I know. God. Shit, man. It sucks. I'm telling you, all season, every single broadcast, when offsides comes up, or if there's a review for it, God forbid, some broadcaster is going to say, and the new
Just
rule
like
is
in football.
it's just like in football with the ball crossing the plane to the goal line, blah, blah, blah. Like, oh
Yeah.
man.
That's true. Yeah. I didn't think about that aspect of it, but that is absolutely going to happen.
I mean, the only thing I said it, if you're a casual fan, it's a little easier, but
Yeah, it's easier.
I think it's
like
offsides is insanely easy.
It's
So
like
the fact
football.
that people go like, so the funny thing is, people that play soccer, they're like, I don't get the hockey thing. I'm like, it's literally the same thing as soccer.
Same game.
It's literally the same fucking thing.
That the rule is actually derived from soccer.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah,
and actually
Well,
near the line.
the original offsides rule.
Well, the defender
in
is
hockey,
the line.
The original offsides rule in hockey was that rule.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes.
Ooh.
The lines
Because they
didn't
didn't
the
have
lines didn't
they
come in
didn't-
until the Patrick brothers instituted it out west.
Yeah.
And then it made its way.
So I'm trying to
East.
think right now, like how, like what that would be. What that
Well,
would
think
mean
about
to
it.
It'd be
the
the same as it was in
games.
soccer.
It's the
People
same
get
as
paid
soccer.
for shit.
the NHL didn't have a forward pass rule until like 30,
Right.
like 31 was the first year they had a forward pass.
Because it was
It
when
makes
it
sense.
started,
Everything's backward. Yeah.
when it started, all the rules were rugby rules, but on ice and with
Yeah.
sticks and a puck. So it
Yep.
was 11 on 11 for like an hour straight.
Yeah.
the goals were like
Absolutely fisting
know,
each other.
It was like
They were-
bandy.
they were huge, and like I mean the history is amazing, and like I love reading about it and watching documentaries and stuff about it because
Didn't they start playing with
especially
cow
that
patties?
yeah,
Like frozen
like horse
horse
manure,
Horse dung.
like frozen
Yeah,
horse
horse dung.
manure.
That's
No.
awesome.
They like whatever they could find, right? At one time, it was made out of wood. Puck was
Yeah.
made out of wood.
Hey, look
Yeah,
at that thing
in
over there. I'm
some
gonna go
places.
smack it into a net.
Yeah, like, and there's there are writings of a hockey-like sport being played during colonial and revolutionary times
Yep.
in North America,
Yep.
and it was, you know, it was very similar to what, you know, rugby ended up looking like, and then when organized hockey started, like the first organized hockey match at McGill University
Yep.
was played under rugby rules. The guy who was in the rugby club at McGill got all these people together and was like, let's play at the skating club there, which was a indoor sort of rink, and it ended in a brawl. The first organized match ended in a brawl, and the reason why it ended
I
in a
remember
brawl
That's fucking
is
awesome.
because the skating club got pissed off because these ruffians were
These degens.
disgracing their ice with this game. So they came and they made a big stink and big argument, and a huge brawl broke out. And
Can
you
you
go-
imagine
you can go
how
find the
pickled
newspaper
those guys
article.
were?
It's awesome.
I've seen that. Yeah.
Dude, that
Can you
is
imagine
awesome.
how pickled those guys were the first time?
Can
you imagine that? Oh, that'd been great.
But the first organized hockey game ended in a brawl.
That's very
So-
fitting.
Very.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, think about it. The first couple of years of the NHL in the existence, no forward pass.
Right.
And they say that revolutionized the game.
Right.
Before the stick, before the goalie mask, before the first composite stick, it was a forward pass.
Right.
That's really what it was. It was a forward pass. That and letting your power play expire after a goal.
Well,
Thanks.
that's the Detroit. Oh no, that's the Montreal rule.
Yeah, that's the Montreal rule.
Yeah, when they were
Yeah. They would
running
score
over
like
everybody,
18
yeah.
goals. Oh, it's great.
So one of the other questions we got was from Kevin on Instagram. Kevin, who has what looks like a very interesting cooking account, which we're going to have to talk to him about some grilling, I think.
I want to give him a shout out on that public account, because he replied to us on his private account, but I want to give him a shout out on his public account, which is Kevin_KJ Cooks and more. It's basically him like grilling and smoking on his Komodo Joe, and
Ooh.
it is right up our alley because all four of us
We're into that.
very much enjoy meat cooked over fire. So we're definitely I'll be following that on my personal account, and probably the Beers in the Lot account will follow it as well. But anyway, the question.
Anyway, Kevin's question.
Yeah.
Was about the expansion draft. He wanted to know kind of like an overview of the perspective from rivals. I got like what players might go from potential rival teams like around the Seattle area, like Vancouver and Winnipeg and some of the surrounding teams. So I'm going to turn this one straight to John because he's got about 30 minutes worth of content here. So we're just going to let him go and then pare it down to about 5 or 10 minutes. So take it away, John.
Well, it only makes sense because I was talking about it like 2 weeks ago. I was like, oh, they're going to take this. But the rules really quick for the expansion draft. Very similar to what they did last time. There is a game requirement that players have to meet in order to go into the unprotected pool. The NHL is going to adjust that given the fact they had a shortened season last year, and this year they haven't came out with the game requirements. But the big thing you're going to have to do is, if you're a team, you can have one of two options. You could either do 7 forwards, 3D, and 1 goalie, remain protected, or 8 position players and a goalie. Every team has to have at least 1 goalie in the pool of players to potentially select from. Vegas is not included in the expansion draft. They're exempt from it. Vegas, I wouldn't be shocked if they try to move somebody to Seattle in a cap dump effort, and also maybe for draft picks. But
are they exempt because of they're a much newer team?
Yes,
okay,
that's why.
Gotcha.
But it's kind of funny. We were talking about the way they've been cranking out players left and right. They're practically on an expansion model still. I mean, I love Vegas, but the way they're turning players, it's kind of sad. But anyway, so a few teams like kind of in that Pacific close area to Seattle. Vancouver, they have Braden Holtby and Tyler Myers, defenseman and goalie. Could be appealing. Everyone else for Vancouver is a little younger, so they're not really going to qualify.
Why would Vancouver unprotect Holtby when they just signed him to that deal?
Because they have Thatcher Demko. So you protect Demko and give up Holtby.
Is he too new though? He's still really young, isn't he? Is he not exempted for being?
He had a really good playoff.
Yeah, I did, but
how
much
and,
did he
and
play
it doesn't.
during-
Okay,
And keep in mind, just because a player is technically on that list unprotected, it doesn't mean they're going to be taken.
Right, they're
I
not
just
going.
went,
Right.
Sure.
yeah, I just went through the list and
Yeah.
kind of in my head, I'm like,
yeah.
all right, these are your best players available. Holtby makes the most sense just because Demko's there and he's not eligible yet, I don't think. Arizona, I was thinking Vinny Hinostroza. That's really the only person of value there that I think. If you're going San Jose, Martin Jones, I'm not sure if that's really value. Brent Burns and Matt Nieto. I think Brent Burns could be pretty good because they have Vlasic on that insane contract and they have Erik Karlsson. Brent Burns still puts up numbers. He's pretty solid. And he's one of the guys I think fans latch onto, as goofy as he is. I know Danny loves him. So, yeah, that makes sense.
You watch your mouth.
Yeah.
But I'll ask the same question. What, like, the Sharks they'll unprotect him? Or, like,
so that's the other sticking point of the rule. Brent Burns does not have a no movement clause in his contract. So the only way a player with a no move clause can be eligible for the
If they waive
expansion
it, right?
draft, they have to voluntarily waive it. So there could be something where the team goes to, Phil Kessel, kind of his name comes to mind only because he nixed the first trade to Minnesota, but then went to Arizona, where they kind of go to him and say, Phil, do you want to be eligible for the expansion draft? And he can tell him, go kick rocks. And then he doesn't have to do anything.
Right.
Then technically they could move a trade avenue, obviously, if it's something where Seattle really wants him, maybe not. It depends really. So Calgary, Michael Backlund, I think he's a good player. He kind of gets buried there. Edmonton, Jesse Puljujarvi, who I do think needs a change of scenery out of Edmonton. And Zach Cassian. That's another guy I think like you could kind of build not necessarily a team around, but he could add some things to your roster immediately. Little jam. LA, Jonathan Quick. He's on, you could say his best years are behind him, but he's a goalie. He can definitely get you some games. Ducks, Danton Heinen, Sonny Milano, Adam Henrique. Those are some guys I thought. And then I guess bonus, just because we're a Pens Caps. Pens have Casey DeSmith. Strong chance they're going to have to put him in because I don't see them putting Jari in there. They also have Matheson, Jared McCain, and Ricola that they all could leave unprotected in the draft. Caps, I'd be interested to see what happens with the Caps because Oshie and Hagelin could both be available. What do you think on those ones?
Oshie's probably gone.
I would imagine. I think
that's
yeah.
Everybody,
and he's attractive. He's attractive at that point.
Everybody sort of in the Washington circle or whatever is always like, oh, we're gonna lose Oshie. That's what everybody says.
And the other thing too, I do see Seattle. Ron Francis, he's really smart and he's been around the league a lot. And the pro scouts for Seattle have been working the last 2 seasons. And I wouldn't be shocked too. I mentioned some of the names on the Penguins where they have Matheson and Ricola. It could be something at the trade deadline. Seattle kind of does like, hey, we'll take a 3rd rounder for futures considerations to take Ricola, not Matheson, stuff like that.
Yeah,
I mean, similar to what Vegas did. But I would be interested to see what teams are to either move certain players or trade, especially since it's going to be a big cap crunch for a lot of teams. Seattle, I don't know how much revenue they're going to generate because they're, you need fans in the seats clearly. And with COVID, that's the unfortunate thing. We're still up in the air with that. They are new
they're
fan
not
base.
starting until next season. So
correct, exactly. So that gives them some time, which is
opener.
nice, barring anything crazy. But I would like to see more, obviously a full schedule and full fans next year, but we'll see. But that's kind of the Pacific West Coast area that could happen. The other thing too, the Kraken, I'd be curious if they almost do a different route than Vegas. Vegas is really fortunate where they got a lot of good pieces. The team's undervalued. I don't know how many people are going to be sleeping on players this time around. I don't see it as much as I did with Vegas. Like they got William Karlsson, Nate Schmidt, you could definitely say, Jonathan Marchessault and Riley Smith from Florida. They got both of those guys from practically nothing. One was a pick and then the other one was like a 5th round draft pick.
I think those pieces are still out there.
There's definitely pieces out there.
But was it so much them taking advantage of the rules, or was it that teams had not properly evaluated the pieces that they had and they unprotected guys and those were legit mistakes?
Little column A, little column B, I think.
Yeah, I
Right?
think that's
Like-
it.
I think it's both.
Well, I know.
Yeah.
So I know for a fact the Penguins definitely gave Vegas. I think it was like either a second or a first round, or no, second or third round pick, just to take Fleury. Because I want to say they left Dumoulin and a few other younger forwards. Maybe Brian Rust was one of them. They left them unprotected intentionally because they really wanted Vegas to take Fleury. They needed goalie. But I don't know how many teams, and the other thing too, teams are going to be cash strapped. So that's where I think like some more people may go, hey, would you move your deal this time? Toronto's in an interesting situation too, because they have a lot of guys forward, especially they're really top heavy.
Right.
And there's a lot of rumors, especially, what that team's going to look like after this year if they don't really perform. Granted, it's a full season under Sheldon Keefe. We'll see, but you never know. Maybe people become available that you wouldn't expect.
So let's segue into World Junior Championship then.
Yeah, bunch of scumbag kids running the fucking score up on poor Germany.
Yeah,
Those
I
kids
do-
just want to go and
yeah.
have fun. I'm
Yeah.
all for competition, and I understand you're going to get some of those games. I really do, but like, come on, Canada, you guys are wheelhousing each other. After you score the 10th goal, get the
Hey,
hell
well,
out of here.
What would I tell them if they were celebrating and I was
Keep
there?
the fucking puck.
That's
Act like
right.
it scored
Give
before.
Keep
him
the fucking-
the puck.
keep the
Tape it
fucking
up for
puck.
him. Put his name on it so he can put it on his fucking mantle at home.
Yeah,
Yeah,
No
Yeah.
one
the
cares.
the U.S. when they were playing Austria, after a while, they just they didn't even do like glove taps anymore. They're
They
just
were
like,
just like they would shoulder
to the
shrug.
bench,
They
yeah.
were like,
It
okay.
went in.
Yeah.
I didn't try that hard, and it went
By
in.
the way, speaking of Team USA, they got a big W today, and that Zegras kid is amazing.
yes,
He
Money.
looks great.
He's awesome.
He looks a lot better than Cole Caulfield. I'm not saying anything about Cole because he has a good resume, but Zegras looks like
Well,
he's going to be something for the Ducks. He
like
really does.
I've watched a lot of Caulfield watching college hockey with Wisconsin, and he looks great when he's playing there. He's been kind of invisible in these couple games to start out in the World Juniors. Like Danny was asking what number was he on the group text today,
Yeah.
and I had to go look it up because I was like, I don't even know because I really haven't seen him do much.
right.
So the Zegras,
Yeah.
Zegras is awesome. Like the
he looks
Ducks
great.
have a
He's at-
great player.
Yeah, he's had 5 goals. Was that him? He had 5 goals.
5 goals, 5 assists.
This World Juniors.
Yeah.
And he,
I
and
saw
he
the one
looks-
today. Oh my god, it was great. He got the zone and then passed back, and as soon as he passed it back, he had his stick up calling for the puck, and it came right back to him because he knew that net was going to be wide open. Sure enough, easy, straight in the middle. That was a beauty.
Yeah, and he looks like he's scoring in different ways too. He's not just skating to the middle, taking a wrist shot. He had a one-timer today that I remember, and he's doing it in different ways, which is awesome. So we like seeing that.
Oh yeah.
So how do you think they stack up to Canada?
They're always better. I mean, come on.
Well,
No,
Canada only have 2 players on the roster, I think, that are not first round picks.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah, but Rigsby,
they're-
funny you're using that because when we were talking draft earlier, you were bashing it left and right.
no, but
Using his measuring stick now.
No, what it means is that those guys at the under 20 tournament, which is
Correct.
the projection of what we should be seeing going forward in the pros, those
Yep.
guys are legit. They
Yeah.
are they will all play professionally. They will all have a shot at the NHL. It is an NHL roster. So
Yes.
you have your work cut out for you. The US team is not as strong. It's not.
No, I don't think so. But USA, for whatever reason, they always do have that. It's not hard for them to get psyched up to play against Canada. And
USA
Sweden and
versus
Russia.
Canada's always good.
It's always the game. It really is. So I'm fine with that. The other kid who's really impressed me, even though his team hasn't performed kind of what they need, is Tim Stutzel out of Germany. He looks great.
He
Ottawa
looks
looks like they got a
awesome.
steal, and I like him because he's obviously he's not getting the offense he needs, but he's really working his ass off. You could tell he's moving.
Yeah,
So
yeah, you
good for
can see him. He's involved physically too. Like and even after the whistle, he's getting into it a little bit with guys with little extra stick or a rub here or there. That's awesome. And he's big. He's big already. Like
I would like to see him and Brady Kachuk running around. Like that almost scares me.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
That would be kind of cool to see. So,
Well, who did Canada sit on tonight?
was it Austria?
No.
Austria,
Switzerland, because
Switzerland.
Austria is playing Russia.
What was that, like 9-0?
10.
10-0? Oh my god.
10-0.
It's not good, man.
No, that's not good.
No.
Like it's
So
not.
how do you feel
good
about those lopsided games, Rigo?
They always happen.
I don't think it's good for. Like
It's not good for TV.
Like we like the tournament, we're gonna watch it, but I think people who are not as into like the tournament itself are watching again, like these prospects or these young kids coming up. Like they're gonna be turned off by it. Like they're not gonna watch a 16. What was it against Germany with Canada 16-2 or something?
Oh yeah,
they're not gonna watch that. Like it's terrible. And even like I've been watching the TSN feeds from Canada, and even the Canadian broadcasters are like, this is not entertaining.
Well, Germany,
they don't say it in so many words, but like this is not entertaining.
Yeah.
Germany lost Lucas Reichel, who was also a first round draft pick. He would have made a dent. I definitely think.
Well,
so.
yeah, they were short because when they showed up, they had a bunch of people that were positive.
Yeah.
For COVID tests or whatever, so they had to clear that. I get it, but even
so it'd have been like 15-3.
Right, like even still,
yeah,
like,
exactly.
They were going to get run over.
Also, you throw in a big hit like that bad hit too. That's a terrible look. That's really not good.
Yeah,
that high hit on the Germany play. That doesn't belong there. That's bad. That's bad for the sport. A game like that's bad for the sport.
Well, the IHF rules are a little different because they are super strict. Where if you even touch the head, even if it's not the target necessarily, they're going to suspend you for a game.
Right, but it
was a high hit. Yes,
it was a high hit.
And also the game was out of hand. It was probably a 6 or 7 goal differential, and I think I'm being generous at that point in the game.
Yeah.
And I can't remember the kid's name that did it on Canada, but he definitely came in high and tagged him.
Yeah,
and didn't need to throw the hit.
Didn't it, like, totally unnecessary. Even if he got him clean, probably wasn't necessary.
Didn't need to.
Well, I wish I could do something. I don't know what, because I know Canada plays, or not Canada, obviously. Germany, Austria, Switzerland, they all play in the lower division until they win that lower division to get bumped up to the top division. And so there's a lot to be said. Those kids battled. They're better than the second tier, if you will, but not first tier material. But a lot of these kids in Germany and Switzerland and Austria and even Russia to some extent, this is the only time they're going to play in a tournament this big necessarily. A lot of those players are going to go play in a pro league over in Europe. So is it bad that they get exposure? No, it definitely isn't. But at the same time, you also want it to be competitive. A 5-1 game is different than a 16-2 game. But granted, you don't want to tell the kids to hold back. That's kind of because you could tell at that point it's horrible. You don't want to see that. That's just lame.
Well, I don't know how you change the rules to stop that sort of thing either.
You can't.
You can't.
Yeah, because you need to have the goal differential as a decider. So how do you can't change it so that teams won't run up the score because it benefits them to do so.
Yeah, you can't.
Yeah,
that's exactly right. Unless you have like an upper and a lower, which
you can't do.
That doesn't really make sense.
It
doesn't make sense.
Doesn't work. Yeah.
Right.
And they already have an upper and a lower.
And they relegate teams. I mean, Germany's just coming, like at this level, they're just coming off relegation.
Yeah.
So this is basically their first year back in like 5 years, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're gonna get sat on. right?
Right.
Oh yeah.
especially by a
so-
powerhouse like Canada.
Right. Like first game, I mean, again, like we were talking about it offline, like not recording a month ago. That was a homecoming game for Canada. The first game in the tournament on Boxing Day, day
Oh,
after
yeah.
Christmas against Germany. Like everybody knew what was going to happen.
Yeah.
Now,
Whoever
we
did
didn't
the
all know.
scheduling.
We didn't all know it was going to be 16-2, like that bad, and we didn't know that a bunch of German team members were going to show up COVID positive and have to sit out, which made it even worse. But we all knew that was a homecoming game for Canada.
Yeah.
What's funny about it too is when Germany made it, I can't remember if it was 1-0 or 1-1. I was like, "Let's go Germany! Come on, let's go, Mikey!"
Yeah.
Well, that was the
I
other night.
texted our buddy in Germany, and it did not end well. After I said that, it was just they were just running the score.
So Mikey's gonna come looking for you.
Yeah,
Be
probably.
like, "You
It's
scumbag."
probably my fault.
Yeah.
So one of the things we're also going to start doing, we're calling these our New Year's resolutions, I guess. We're going to start doing some more listener engagement stuff like we did with this episode, where we're putting stuff on social media and asking for some ideas. And yeah, you know what? We'll just go right into it. One of the things we're going to be doing is we're doing a 4-man fantasy hockey, and we're going to try to make it interesting by doing some crazy rules. Like you have to draft. One of the rounds is going to be you have to draft a Swiss national player. I believe the first overall pick, we all have to take our starting goalies for the year. Right. And then the
Stuff
round
like that.
after, a defenseman that plays on the same team as your goalie.
On the same, correct. Yeah, on the same. He was your starting goalie.
Like the idea is just try to make it a little more interesting than, just drafting the top however many players between 4 guys. So if you guys got any ideas, I mean, if you listeners have any ideas of like a rule we could implement for our draft, then definitely let us know on social media.
Well, I was going to say something goofy, just as an example, would be you have to draft a player who previously was bought out on their last contract, stuff like that. Something where it's interesting. So I got Jack Johnson.
Good Lord. Do all this research. Holy shit.
Some of the
I can't just put it on auto draft. Now I gotta know these idiots that play in the league. Like, okay.
Know these idiots that play in the league. Yeah, weird. Who
I
would
think
have
round
thought?
13, you have to draft a vegan.
A vegan. Actually, dude, I'm 100% serious. I think Zdeno Chara is vegan. I actually do know that.
He's mine. Don't fucking take him.
That's what you think.
I'm
He's
not.
mine
Yeah,
now.
you can. You know what? You can have them.
You can have. So one of the other things we're going to try to do is we're going to try and get our Discord server going a little bit here. We've been recording on Discord, so the 4 of us are kind of just chilling in Discord all the time, and we've kind of decided that hey, it'd be cool if listeners come in here and talk to us a little bit. So we're going to start giving out our Discord link for people to join up there, and we kind of just want to connect more with listeners in the new year. So that's our plans.
And look, we know our audience. Everybody's thinking, Discord, isn't that where the kids talk about video games?
Fortnite.
Yeah, it is. But we've been using it to record, like Aaron said, and it is a good platform for you guys to reach out to us and interact with us. If you have questions or ideas for the show, maybe you want to be a guest on the show, you could definitely reach out on Discord. And like Aaron said, all of the social media accounts that we have, they're all at Beers in the Lot. So
now I also want to say here that just because we're asking for you guys to give us ideas doesn't mean that we're out of them. we have lots of content still in store, so don't worry about that.
Aaron leaves a lot of stuff on the cutting room floor when he's editing the next day.
It's true.
So
So with the new year, lots of stuff is probably going to be changing. There's some promising current events. We're probably going to see some changes in the way we're doing this show. We kind of just started this up spur of the moment in August, and we've been having lots of fun with it. We've been loving every minute of this. So we're going to keep on producing content, and we're going to keep at this, and we're going to be looking for new ways to do it in even more fun ways as those opportunities are made available to us. So stay with us, guys. We're gonna keep at this. We're not going anywhere, and we're gonna keep making more content for you all. Thanks for listening too, by the way. We really appreciate the support we've been getting on social media. Everything that we've seen out of all of our listeners has been great. Thank you so much, and Happy New Year.